Namngiyakhona, the podcast inspiring entrepreneurials in South Africa. Because if it's going to be, it's up to me.
I always looked at my mother and how hard she worked. I see myself in the market that I serve is that you must spend less than you earn.
Nazo bafethu sesibuyile, we are back to Namngiyakhona, and always excited to have you and to chat to South Africa's most inspiring and entrepreneurial minds. We bring you these every single week, but at least today, I'm very excited to share with you the guests that we have. I do want to remind you guys every time when you are feeling inspired or when you do have a question and you're thinking, how is that possible? How can that work for me? If you want to drop a question, pop it in the comments, revert back to us. We really want to hear from you, and we love hearing from you, and we'll try and make sure that the guest does get back to you. At least you get a response. From me, your host, I welcome you again to Namngiyakhona, because really what we want to say is that if change is going to happen and if your dreams are going to come true, it's only going to be up to you. And today our guest has truly proven that in a world that is very competitive and one of the largest sectors in South Africa. Philani, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to the show.
Pleasure, and thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure to have you, Philani. As the youngest F&B CEO or Chief Executive Officer, which is heading up, you're heading up F&B Easy. And as I understand, it is the largest customer segment group at the bank. And it's one of the 5 customer segments at the bank, largest by number of people transacting on it, or at least the market possible for it. And you've recently been recognized as well by Mail and Guardian as South Africa's top young 200 South Africans. And you take a background in commerce, looking at information systems, working at the bank since about 2009, rising through the ranks to now be, again, the youngest F&B CEO ever. A true journey and an inspiring journey as well. And I think a lot of it must have come from, somewhere that drove you deep inside. I really want to understand, what is it that you'd say drives you to grow and to thrive in the work that you do?
So when I was in matric, I always knew that I wanted to study IT. And the background that I spoke to earlier, which is, coming from a rural area where there's literally nothing. So those two things just carried me through. And most importantly, I think just also, being in tune to the environment and the people around me. I always looked at my mother and how hard she worked. And I think that is applicable to all of us. All the kids at school today, if you just took a second to just look at your parents or your grandparents or your guardians and just think about how hard they work to provide for all of us. And that thing for me was just unbelievable. And I knew that I never wanted to disappoint my mother because she goes through so much. She had to go and borrow money from unbelievable places just to ensure that there's food on the table and that we went to school. So all of those things just drove me. And eventually I got to matric and I just blazed through my matric year. And fortunately for me, I had applied to go to university. I went to the University of KZN. And following year, I started my first year at the University of KZN.
Really fantastic idea on being in tune with the people around you, because now as Chief Executive Officer at F&B Easy, you are serving the kind of people that your parents were, and the kind of people that many of our parents are, and to be able to serve them is you need to be in tune with them. And I think that background as well, where you're coming from, and was also about being in tune and understanding, okay, hard work is the difference between what I want and what I'm seeing now. And actually maybe one day I might even be able to help my community and the people that have raised me and helped me. Could you talk us through, that essence of understanding people and how you're serving those people, and having empathy and being in tune with those people has been important for your role and the work that you've been doing at the bank?
So if I just think about South Africa, the struggle that our parents, our uncles, our aunts, our grandparents, and just the people around us. I'll even pick our helper, Usisi here, who helps us look after our kids. When I look at them, I see myself, because that's what I know. That's how I grew up. I may live in Johannesburg North today, but I always feel like I actually don't belong here. It's even funny that sometimes on Fridays when we are sitting outside, I sing here, and I feel sorry for my neighbors, because I sometimes take a stick and I'm singing alone, and my son joins me, and we are singing in isiXhosa, as if we were sitting around a fire as a group of men. But that just demonstrates that I see myself in the market that I serve. And I guess that is why it is so easy for me to sit around these boardroom tables and say exactly what we need to change and what we need to do for this market, because I didn't have to go to school to understand what our people are struggling with. I was brought up in these environments. I don't have to go to school or have someone else tell me that a Black South African family in the township or a Black South African family in the rural areas, whether it's Mpumalanga, Limpopo, Diepsloot, or Alexo Soweto, I don't need anyone to tell me what the challenges are, because I have experienced those things. And therefore, because of that understanding and my understanding of the banking system or financial services, how do I bring the two together to just ensure that what we do just resonates with these customers and helps them solve their day-to-day problems? So that is in fact I always say this is not a job for me. It's not. I just happen to get paid for something I honestly believe I have to do. I was brought up in these communities, and it's the least I can do to just give back to them in a way that even our parents and our people and our communities don't think they need, because that's another challenge we have in a lot of the businesses, even in banking. A normal person in the township will never wake up and say, I need a bank account. It just does not work like that. There is another reason. Our people just want to receive money. The bank account is a means to an end. So how do you take that basic understanding of the market, just given what we've discussed now, and bring financial solutions that meet those needs? And really, that's what I've been trying to do over the year that I've been in this role.
In the journey of solving these problems that are so connected to your purpose and passion, how does working with others fit in? How does leadership fit in? How does communication fit in for you? As young people, when we want to make changes in society, what should we be thinking about in order to impact that at a scale that is big?
So I have heard to learn this the hard way, but often I ask myself, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses or development areas? And one of the things that I made peace with is the fact that I will never change who I am and my background. When I started working, I used to worry about how I come across, and I used to worry about the fact that I didn't go to a Model C school, and therefore maybe how I come across, I may miss certain tenses here and there. But I actually made peace with that because that's not what the world is looking for. The world is not here to judge you on how you articulate yourself. The world is looking for change makers and people to make a difference. I often reflect at just the role that Black African women have played in our communities, and really the fact that we have been raised by Black African women. They raise societies. They are holding our societies together. But you go and you have a conversation with them, they don't even worry about whether they understand English or not. It's just about purpose. It's about having a vision, and it's about learning to articulate that vision and getting the people around you to buy into what you are trying to do. And if you think about it, even at school today, you get a group of youngsters that are perceived to be cool. You get a group of youngsters that want to make a difference. I never wanted to be the coolest guy in the class or in the community. I always wanted to be the guy that makes a difference and touches people positively. And sometimes it even starts at home. I made it a point that every evening, for instance, I would go to my mother as she was preparing to go to bed. And I would, sit with her, have a conversation with her, and maybe sing with her. And that's where it started with me. It started within my family environment. It started with getting the people around me to buy into what I wanted to achieve. And that's why I guess at FNB today, the people around me, first of all, I don't see them as people that work for me. It's funny, I mean, I look at my team and I know sometimes they're scared of me because they look up to me, I'm the leader, but I say they don't work for me, they work with me. They are partnering with me to achieve what I want us to achieve. And I have a responsibility to then ensure that I'm able to sell my vision. I have a responsibility to ensure that, they buy into what I'm trying to do. And as a collective, we have a responsibility to ensure that our customers then buy into what we are trying to do for them. And that's why it's also important that our customers then understand that we aren't coming from a place of not knowing what they need. We are coming from a place of being there and then providing solutions that are making a difference to their lives. So that's how I go about with my business on a daily basis.
I've got a big passion for financial literacy, and so glad that we can be having a leader in banking to come tell us, Guti, because we all want to change our lives. We want to make our financial lives better. But as young people, our families, don't know how we should be handling money. I could have never gotten advice from my parents or my uncles or anyone around me on how to handle money. So maybe you've got some thoughts for us at a high school. What are the key things for us to remember and how we can grow in learning how to handle our money better?
Sure. That is, I love that question, because so there's two things, right? Let me maybe just start by reflecting as a CEO. It doesn't matter the CEO of at what scale. The one principle all of us have to learn, and it starts at high school, is that you must spend less than you earn at all times. That is the one thing that all of us must just remember. If you get 2 rands or 10 rands, okay, you just cannot take that whole 10 rands and go and spend it and then go and borrow from your friend because you want to buy for 12 rands. That's a recipe for disaster. Now, if we cannot get that thing right in our personal lives, there is no way as a CEO or someone that's running their own businesses, you can get it right.
Philani, siyabulela, enkosi, baya danki. Great to have heard from you those wisdoms, or that wisdom, and also the nuggets of knowledge that you've shared with us. Really inspiring. And from the show at Namgia Corner, we just want to say thank you and wish you so much more success and prosperity on your journey.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and all the best.
I know ziyakhipha mhlambi nathi masesifaka some CVs, we can send them to Mr. Potwana there. He might be able to put us on a journey where we can also work on our dreams, serving people that are just like us, our friends, our families, uncles. But until then, you might have been inspired. You want to get in touch, comment down below. Contact us. Really love to hear from you. Follow us on social media, and we want to make sure that the best entrepreneurial minds and entrepreneurs in the country are able to share how they've made successes of their journeys. Until next time, thank you once again from me, your host, Buntu Majaja. See you on the next time. Stay inspired and be entrepreneurial. Follow us on social media and find us on WhatsApp. Namgia Corner.